Hi friends, and welcome back to the channel. This is Sew with Zobs, and in today's video we are going to be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful neckline design. So this neckline design is actually a request from one of our group members from the free WhatsApp group. Okay, so we are going to be learning how to cut the neckline design seamlessly from start to finish. Now you remember the princess that pattern we created before. Now we are going to be using that pattern today. So I have this interfacing, guys. You don't want to know how much I got this interfacing here from Amazon, close to 5,000 naira, and it wasn't even up to by 60. My things are still expected to arrive soon, so for now I'll be making do with what I have. And to create the bustier, I will be using the paper stay just to give the bust area some firmness. So I have gone ahead to iron the stay on the side panels of my bustier pattern, or which I've already transferred to the fabric, and this is the center piece of my bustier princess dart pattern. Okay, so this is a piece of clothes stay I found in my bag. I don't know how it got there, but I actually ended up ironing it on top of the paper stay because the paper stay was quite light and it wasn't really going to seem like it was going to give me the kind of curve I wanted. So this is the peplum for the top. If you want to know how to cut a peplum, please kindly leave a comment in the comment section and I'll make a separate video for that. I equally ironed the paper stay to the peplum, and it is a 720-degree flay kind of peplum. So here I'll just go ahead now and iron the hair stay, that's the close stay, to all my front panels. Okay, so by the time you are done, now we are going to be creating the neckline design. Please be mindful not to do this at the front side of your fabric, and because the curve did not extend so much to the side of my princess dart, that is why I am doing this only on the center piece. So before tracing out your neckline, you remember when we were drafting our pattern, the neckline was 3 by 3, and this to me is really going to be so close to my neck and I wouldn't want that. So I went ahead to extend the side that I want to go down a bit by 1.5 inches. Okay, then the other side I extended it by half an inch because I want that one to be a bit close to the neck, but the other one a little bit away from the neck. So at the point where I extended by 1.5 inches, I came down by 5 inches, sorry, and that is the depth. I did not want it to reveal any part of my breast. So you are going to draw out the shape of the neckline. Just draw with your imagination. Okay, now you draw out, and like I said, do not do this at the front part of your fabric. So this is the shape of the neckline I have, and you can see it did not get to the dart line of my body, so I want it to be a bit curved and not so deep. So you can just use your visuals and draw out the neckline. So in cutting, do not cut directly on the marked lines. So cut like half an inch before the marked lines, and that is going to be where you stitch on, more like you're sewing allowance for the neckline. If you cut directly, by the time you are done sewing, you know that it is definitely going to be lower than what you wanted. Okay, so but if you do not want the other side of the neck to be so much away from your neckline, you can go ahead and just cut out from exactly where the 3 inches is from the pattern. I hope you understand what I mean by that. If you don't want it so close, you can extend by 1.5. If you want it close, leave it the way it is. So I'll go ahead now and transfer same neck shape to the lining. Now you can go ahead and cut that out. So the next step now is joining the side panels of our bustier to the center piece. So remember when we drafted, I told you to notch the bust point and the under bust, as this is really going to help you when you are sewing. So when sewing your princess darts, you start from the waistline. That is, you stitch from the waistline to the armhole area and not the other way around. So you go ahead now and join your center to the side, following exactly the same curve you have on your side panel. Okay, whichever way where you are sewing from, just make sure that you follow the curve, and that is going to give you a perfect princess curve by the time you are done joining. And also ensure to maintain your 1/2 inch seam allowance. If you're still new, you can go ahead and use your chalk to mark out your 1/2 inch and then use your pin to secure the pieces together. That would help a lot. Repeat same joining process for the lining, and then you can give this a good press. But before you press, make sure that you notch the seam so that your princess seam will be more relaxed. So in ironing out your seam, you would need a bust ham or a tailor's ham. Since I do not have anyone readily available right now, this is what I did. I placed my thread under at the top of my ironing board, then placed some bra on top of it, then opened the side seam or the seams of the princess dart and just give that a press. It worked, guys. It worked. So you don't have any excuse for not giving your princess that seam a very good press. Just use this method. It works. Okay, guys, so you have to do the ironing at the wrong side and equally at the right side. So when you're done, you can now go ahead and join our lining. So guys, you can see the outcome of the ironing, and you can see that the tip is not pointed as it was when we finished joining. Okay, so ironing is very essential in sewing. So match up your lining and the fabric, right sides facing each other. Then you'll be needing your pin if you're a beginner. Even if you're not a beginner, using your pin does not have anything to do with your level of sewing. So it totally depends on you. I always like to use my pin because it makes sewing very easy for me. Okay, so just pin and stitch down with your 1/2 inch seam allowance. So guys, after that, make your notches because you have a curved line, and then you top stitch, pushing your allowance to the lining area, and then you stitch quite close to the neckline but not exactly at where you stitched before. Okay, so after this, pressing is essential, and this is what the neckline is looking like. So if you do not want the neckline to be so far apart, just don't make any extension like we did when we were trying to cut out the neckline. Okay, now you can go ahead and finish up with your back pieces. Do not forget to add your dart. Sorry, I lost the footage of how the back was sewn, but it's just a basic waist dart. All right, now we move straight to the peplum. The peplum is a 720-degree flea. Now it has a joining at the midpoint. If you want to know how I join my peplum without having all the side seams showing, you can check the link in the description box for how to join your peplums without your side seam sewing. So I notched the midpoint of my upper bodice, which I've already joined and shaped. Okay, I've already shaped it with the body measurement. Sorry, that footage was lost, but it's quite easy to do. Okay, so I'll pin up my peplum right now and then finish up with the sewing. So this is one thing I do to give myself some allowance, because we can increase in size and decrease in size depending on what is happening around your life. So I always add some allowance to my peplum, and that I pleat to the side seam of my dress. Okay, so that whenever I want to make an adjustment, it will be super easy for me. All I need to do is just open up the peplum by the side and then take out some allowance from the upper bodies, and the allowance from the peplum also would match, and then I close it up without having to lose out the entire peplum or losing out a bit up to the center, and that's it. I hope this makes sense. Okay, so this is my own method of adding allowance to my fabric. Not when I add in size, I'll now start looking for how to make adjustment, or the peplum is not even enough. Even if I should open up the allowance at the upper bodice. Okay, so if you are the type that likes allowances, always add maybe 0.5 inches to your peplum, the radius of your peplum, whenever you are cutting. So we'll go ahead now and finish up with our peplum, and we'll see what our dress is looking like. Done with the peplum, and this is now time for our zipper. These are zipper foots which I ordered from Amazon, and the foots that are available there, I've not really explored all of them, but I know they are very, very essential for sewing. Okay, so I have switched my regular foot to the zipper foot, and right now I am going to be attaching my invisible zipper. This is the only zipper I came to the UK with from Nigeria. There were two. I used one for the skirt and this for the top. Okay, others are yet to arrive. The other colors I have can just not match this fabric, so this is a bit close. Normally I would have preferred to use royal blue or black, but I am making do with what I have. Okay, now to fix your zipper, a lot of us are still having a hard time in fixing zipper. So this is the left hand side of my fabric. Okay, I'm using an invisible big head zipper. That is what we call it in Nigeria, and you equally match it up with the left hand side of your zipper. Just make sure that the top of your zipper, that's the head of your zipper, is touching the head of your dress. Now you can pin along. If sewing with your zipper running free like this is not going to be a problem, I always like to pin at least the top of my zipper to the dress, so that I'll just continue sewing from there. So you pin and then you sew. While sewing, make sure that the sewing allowance you are leaving out is exactly the same sewing allowance you gave when you were cutting your fabric. Don't take your zipper so close to the fabric or too much away from the fabric. It's either it will come out very tight or it will come out very, very loose. So always stop stitch at the end of your zip. Now you move over to the other side. You repeat the same process. Match up your fabric to the zip, making sure that the both heads of your fabric aligns properly. And also at the waistline, you know you have a half cut. The line have to align equally. Okay, if you want to start pinning your zip from the waistline, that's fine, so that you make sure that your left side waistline matches with the right side waistline at your back. Not when someone is looking at you from behind. One part of your zip is up like ½ inch away from the other one. That is the half cut line there. You understand what I mean? So go ahead and pin, and also take out the same sewing allowance that you have there. So before you sew, just double check that your side lines or your back lines are matching, and equally that the zip at the top is equal. So friends, this is the result of our work, and it turned out beautiful. Now you can go ahead and add your basic sleeve or whichever sleeve you want. I added the basic sleeve with handkerchief lay at the tip. Now if you're yet to subscribe, kindly do so right now, because we'll be dropping more sewing videos on this channel from now. Turn on the notification bell so that you get notified. Thank you so much, and see you in our next video.